everybody. So I received another question, right? And so today we are going to understand the difference between two operations or two methods used with list. One is append, another one is extend. So what is the difference between these two, right? That's the question. So first of all, see, when you are appending and when you're extending, right? Append, you already know. Append means you are adding an element to the like you're appending something, so you're adding an element in the end of the list since you're working with lists, right? And then extending means you are extending the list, right? So the main difference is that append usually works with one element, okay? And if you have to add more than one elements to the list, you have to use append with for loop. So you have to call this method, append method, over and over, right? So in that case, you can use extend, right? Another difference is that append will change the original list, extend will not do that, okay? So I'd rather give you example. So suppose I have this list, let's say L1, and I'm gonna take 3 elements as I always do. So we have this list L1, 1, 2, 3, right? Now, if I have to use append, that means I can add one element at a time, right? So how do we do it? L1 dot append, because we want to add an element to L1, right? And then I can write any element, right? What I mean by any element is it can have any data type, okay? So it can be a string, it can be a dictionary, it can be anything, right? So it has to be one data type, one element. So I'm gonna add 4 first, okay? So obviously it's, as I told you, if you're using append, it is actually going to change the list, right? So if you see, L1 has been changed, 1, 2, 3, 4. And similarly, L1 dot, I told you it can have any data type. So if I, let's say, try to append this, because I told you it will have only one element, right? So that one element here will be this whole list, okay? So if I do like this, you see, it's not going to append the elements of this list individually. It is going to treat this whole list as one element, okay? And so remember this, if you're using append, you can only add one element to the list and it can be of any data type, right? So here I had this integer, which, you know, when an individual number is taken, it with the comma, especially it is taken as a tuple, but forget about that. So this is integer, this is whole list. So it will work like that. It's gonna treat that thing as one element, and it will also change the original list, right? So as you keep on appending, it's going to modify the original list, right? When you're using extend, so let me change this list again. 1, 2, 3 again, okay? So we have L1, 1, 2, 3. Now we are going to use extend. So when you are using extend, first of all, you can extend, meaning instead of having one element, you can have many elements, okay? And that being said, we could have one, it could, when we were using append, we can have any data type, right? But when we are using extend, you can have any iterable. What I mean by that is you can have a dictionary here, you can have a tuple here, you can have a list here, and it is going to treat it as an iterable, not one element. So here you saw when I appended 4 and then I had 1, 4, 6, it went like this, 1, 4, 6. If I take a list here, 1, 4, 6, right? Now, if I try to print L1, you will see we have 1, 4, 6, right? Here we had this one in the form of a list, but here it is not in the form of a list. In fact, it actually continues the sequence. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3 already, so it will add the elements of the iterable to the list. So it is extending it, right? You can't do this in append, as you already saw. Okay, and so this is the main difference between these two, append and extend. Okay, it's very simple. To be very honest, like you can already, I mean, even if you run it, but yeah, sometimes we forget. Even in append, we will try to provide more than one item, and then we are like, why it's not working? That's why it's not working, because append is supposed to take just one element, and extend is actually working with iterables, right? So you can give a like you are giving whole iterable here, and it is going to treat all the elements individually. It is going to iterate over these elements, and it's going to add these elements individually here. It's not going to treat it as one list or one item, right? So that's the main difference between append and extend.